Hello, everyone. My name is Ashish, and let's dive into your first 90 days as a product manager. Um, this session is actually a continuation of my last session when I was talking about how to navigate your career into product management, either from engineering or any other um, role that you have. And after that session, many people came back and asked questions. Uh, that was great, and now we are into product management, but we are very new into this role. What do we do? And that's when I started giving advice about first 90 days and why first 90 days are very important. First of all, that's the main question, because the first impression sets you for the success or the failure. And it takes a lot of time and effort to change a first bad impression. So you don't want to get the bad impression. And that's why first 90 days are super important. So today we will take a look at the steps that you need to take, after which you will be able to probably answer your own questions, such as what should I accomplish in the first 90 days? How can I do? What am I supposed to do? And who are my friends in this journey, right? Because you cannot travel this journey alone. Everybody needs a friend. There are teammates, there are members of the organization that can hold your hand in this journey. So I'm going to talk about all that, what to do, how to do it, right? Before we get started, again, like I said, I'm Ashish. I'm currently a product manager at Facebook. And before this, I have worked at Roku, Intuit, Microsoft, Nokia, Infosys. I started my career originally as a software engineer and then navigated it to product management. If you need to look at the previous recording of the previous webinar, you can always go to my LinkedIn profile and I have the link there. Um, Also, before we get too much deep into the webinar, I also want to thank Product School for giving me this opportunity, and helping all of you to get connected with the product management leaders in the entire world. So with that, let's dive in. First of all, congratulations, right? You just navigated yourself from some other role into product management. And so take a moment and celebrate this. Congratulations, you are in your dream role now, right? Now the next question comes is, okay, what do we do in this product management role? And I'm going to tell you three things. And if you tick mark those three boxes, um, I think you will be able to succeed in your role overall, but also quickly build your reputation as a product manager. And it's very important that this is your first product management role. You succeed in this role by doing some good tricks and tips that I think all the product managers have done when they navigated their career into PM. So let's take a look at those three things and then dive deeper. The first thing is, remember, start with people. If you are coming from backgrounds such as software engineering, which I did, the role is usually silo. You just silo and you just work on your own, and you probably don't need to talk to too many people, and that's okay. But when you come into the product management, you have to work with a lot of people. And so remember, start with people, build connections with your team members and key stakeholders. That's kind of a key. And we'll dive deeper into this, how to do it, who are those friends that you should connect with. But remember, the first thing is to build connections and start with people. It's all about people. The second thing you need to tick mark is understand why, understanding the strategy of your organization and how it aligns with your company. And again, when we deeper dive into this, I'll talk about why it's important and how to do it. But remember, the second checkbox you want to do is understanding the why of your organization. And the third thing is the demonstrating success, delivering something. Product management success is always measured based on how many projects or initiatives you deliver, how much impact those initiatives make. Those are the things that get counted. So if you're coming from some organization or role such as software engineering, And I keep giving that example because I came from software engineering. If you are coming from marketing, sales, any other role as well, I think there's a specific way of measuring the success in those roles. For example, when I was a software engineer, if I come daily, I complete some Jira stories, I deliver some code, that's a success, right? If the project goes live or not, whether the organization makes some other decisions at the end, it doesn't impact the deliveries I have done. I have already succeeded if I have coded my part, right? But when you are a product manager, the success is usually measured by how much impact your projects made. And if at the end of the project, if it's not landed, which we call like going beyond the finish line, then it's not a success. So you need to make sure that you demonstrate that success, execute quick, and deliver on some of the projects in flight. And that's going to set up your reputation. Right. Cool. With that, let's dig a deep dive into each one. The first one I said is build connection with your team members and key stakeholders, right? And this is very important in the first 2 weeks of you joining as a new product manager. This earlier time spent is going to actually lay down a kind of a rail on which that runway you are going to take off later, as you need to get quicker alignments with your team members. You need to talk with cross teams. Everything is possible if you have this personal connection built. And so build personal connections in first 2 weeks. Don't talk about work usually in this first meetings that you set up. Just go and talk about your background, person's background, what you like, what that person like. And this is going to help you build that personal connection. And the next time you talk to that person, ask for some favor or some alignment on the work, the discussion is going to be much more smoother compared to if you are directly talking to them about the work, right? People usually like to talk to someone they know, not the strangers who are directly starting with, hey, can you do X thing, or can you help me do Y thing, right? So build those connections. That's the very first important thing I would say. Let's see, who are your friends? Who should you talk to? And the list is really long. So don't get scared by that. It's just these many people you're going to be talking to in your day-to-day life as a product manager. So it's very important that you know them, they know you as a person before you guys get and dive into the work. So first thing is your manager and skip one. Skip one is your manager's manager. Both of them are very important. You need to understand what they like, what they give importance to. That's actually coming as a guidance, what organization is looking at, what other important problems organization is trying to solve. So have personal connection with your manager and a skip one. Then I would say the next one is the engineering manager. Engineering manager is your best friend. Anything that you want to do, you can't get it done without engineering manager. You can come up with great ideas, you can talk to customers, you understand their problems and come up with solutions. But if engineering manager and you are not in sync, nothing is going to get delivered and your success is going to turn into a failure. So engineering manager is your best friend. Have a good friendly relationship with your engineering manager. And the next couple of people are like UX point of contacts. And I said UX, POC, and that includes everybody, designer, content, depending on what type of company you are in. You may have these roles or you may have lesser roles, but just understand anybody who makes UX, the UI parts, the mocks, have a good relationship with them, because anytime you need to explain your ideas and you need to come up with the mocks and UI, these are your friends. They are going to understand your problem. They are going to come up with a better user experience to express your ideas and come up with a solution. So connect with them. The next people you want to connect, next person you want to connect on your team is the analyst. Analysts are very important. They work with data and they give you a lot of data to help make decision based on those data, right? Without data, you're kind of shooting in a blind, dark, and making some decisions. But if you have analyst as your friend and who is giving you a lot of data in the background, then you can make a data-backed decisions. right? I can give one simple example. In this case, for example, let's say there's an email field, and you probably have this idea of automatically filling in the email ID, right? And somebody questions, why is that necessary? Why can't people just type in the email ID, right? And the analyst can help in this situation by pulling out quickly data. What's the average length of the email ID? So if it's something about 30 characters long, that means you have to type at least 30 times keystrokes. And if something goes wrong, you go backspace and type again. Versus if it's auto fill in, it's just one click and it automatically pulls from the profile. So this type of data of calculating and making sure you are able to convince your idea, communicate your idea, only can happen through analysts, or unless you are coming from the data analyst field, you can pull data yourself. But if not, I would say have a good relationship with analyst on your team as well. The next thing is a researcher. Not every company has this role, but researchers is basically anyone who can help you connect with your users, your customers, and talk to them, understand their problems. And this is going to come up again later in the presentation is you really need to talk to your users, customers in the first 90 days, understand their problems. And in order to get that done, you need to understand who are the people, right people that can connect you with those customers, who can help you interview your customers or users. So please talk to researchers, connect with them, and have a friendly relationship with them. And last but not the least is all the engineers. Those are the people who are doing work on your team. They are delivering your projects. They are making sure that the coding that they are doing is robust, the quality is good, and they are also building infrastructure that's going to help you land your future ideas as well, right? So have a good relationship with engineers, understand their problems, and what type of work they are going through, what type of situations they are going through. Try to check with them what might help them as a product manager. How can you help them elevate their skills, right? And apart from all these, sometimes depending on your role in your organization, you may have some internal stakeholders or cross-functional teams. If you do, you need to connect with them as well. And now you see the list is like too long, and that's okay. The list is going to be too long, and that happens with every product manager joining a new team. They need to talk to everyone because at the end of the day, anything about the product comes to product manager. These guys are going to come to you if they are familiar with you. You are going to feel supportive and helpful from them if you know them, if you can easily reach out to them, and if there's a softer dialogue between you and these other team members, right? So don't be lazy. I would say don't be scared. Just connect with them, set up 30-minute time with each engineers, researcher, analyst, UX engineer manager, your manager, skip one, all of them, and understand them personally before you start talking to them about work related stuff. And if you see, I said try to do this in first 2 weeks, and it's very difficult to get this done. I agree, but the reason I say first 2 weeks is because um, if it goes beyond 2 weeks, people are going to expect you to start delivering, start working on projects, start creating roadmaps, start creating product briefs, write requirements, things like that. And once that cycle starts, it's very difficult to take out time to just set up time with people to talk to them and understand them, which is why these first 2 weeks are very ideal, right? Don't try to relax in this. Actually talking to people is kind of relaxing to me, but if you think that's work, and I just want to like relax and read some stuff, we'll go into that too, when to do that. But first 2 weeks really spend on connecting with people. Start with people and build your connections in your organization. Cool. With that, let's look at the second checkbox that you need to tick, is understanding the strategy of your organization and how it connects with your company's vision. And why it's important is because as a product manager, you are going to talk to multiple people. across the team. You're going to talk to XFNs, various XFNs, UX people, researcher, even your own engineering team. You're going to talk to them a lot. And you're going to get this question a lot. Why are we doing this? Why is it important? And as storytelling is an important part of this on making people understand why the work you are doing is important and relevant, it can only come from the basis that if you understand the vision of the company and the vision of your org and how it aligns with it, right? If you don't know that story, it's just going to be at the surface level. So try to spend that time. It involves understanding the target market, who are your users, who are your customers, what their problems are, understanding the product market fit, how many people are using your product, in which situations do they use, etc. And like I said, customer problem as well. That's the most important part. What you're trying to solve for, why you're coming to work every day, and why should team continue to work on the things that they are doing, right? So try to go through a lot of readings and read the strategy docs, the roadmaps, the previous decisions that were made, everything you can find on your team that was created either by your previous product manager, or if you are getting into a brand new role that didn't exist, so there's no previous product manager, maybe your manager or skip one has created all these documentation. Ask them where can you find those resources and go through them. And this should happen within first 15 to 30 days. So first 2 weeks you're spending is just to connect with people and understanding from them their personal things. You're connecting personally with them. Slightly, then you're shifting towards understanding what company is doing, what your organization is trying to do. You may get some inputs when you're talking to people because it's very difficult probably to skip entirely the work related conversation. So you may have some input from before, and now you're going to go through these documentation that's going to give you complete understanding, right? And by the end of the 30 days, you're like a pretty much subject matter expert, ready to dive into any problems that needs to be solved, right? So try to do all this reading within 15 to 30 days. Get help from anyone you need. Ask people, where can I get X information? Is there any documentation on certain things? Do we have previous roadmaps? Do we know what was done last year? Why these product decisions were made? Is there any documentation of that? Try to find out all the resources and try to go through them within 15 to 30 days. And again, the same reason, if it goes beyond 30 days, people are going to start expecting you to start delivering. And then the initial period where you can say, I'm ramping up, is kind of diminishing. So really spend this time and quickly getting on board, right? And the last thing on this, I would say within 60 to 90 days that probably you need to do is need to interview your users. You need to understand what problems they are facing. And this is a very important step. There are two type of approaches to go about this. One is you can start talking with the internal subject matter experts, such as maybe there are care people, sales agent, who may have a lot of knowledge about this. Quickly talking to them is going to give you insights of over the years what problems customers have been facing, what your users have been struggling with. If your organization doesn't actually has a care or sales agents, then you're probably in a company like a social media. What makes sense is just talking to real users who are using your product. So spend that time in interviewing either users or our internal subject matter experts. If your stakeholders are internal, interview them. Whoever is using your product directly, interview them, understand how they are using that product, what's going on in their mind when they are using that product. If you have never interviewed users, try to find someone who has, maybe a UX partner. UX are your best friends in this case. They are going to create mocks for you to quickly test the prototype so that you don't have to actually create working software with software engineering investment and then ask the questions. Just create the mocks and try to ask questions to the users on what do they think of these various prototypes, right? Sorry. So try to do this within first 60 to 90 days. And how it's going to help you is every time you try to think about an idea, these things are going to pop up in your mind: what users said, what type of problem they were talking about, and what should I do in this particular situation. The second thing it's going to help in is whenever there's some sort of debate going on, and there's a lot of discussion happening around whether we should go with path X versus path Y, you are going to have this data point to support one of those paths. You are going to be able to say, this is what users are saying, and that's why we should go with Y, but not X, right? So this is very, very important step as a new product manager is interview your users or subject matter expert and try to get help if you haven't done this before, because these are kind of a tricky interviews. So if you haven't done this before, just try to get some help. There might be researchers in your organization, UX partners. Get the help and interview and learn. And I think the last thing I mentioned in the check boxes that you need to check is execute and quickly deliver the projects in flight, right? What this does is really two things. It boosts the confidence of your team that, yes, now we have a new product manager. There was some change that happened, but now we are able to speedily go and deliver some projects, right? So that builds team's confidence. And they may have delivered a lot of projects before, and they may already have a lot of confidence, but this is a kind of a rapport that you are building with your team, that together you can work and deliver projects, right? So that confidence gets built. And the second thing is it builds your credibility as a product manager, and not just within your team, but all the X teams or your managers or their managers who are looking at it. So they will be able to say, hey, this guy just joined as a new product manager, and within for 3 months was able to deliver one or two different medium-sized projects, right? So this helps build that rapport with your team, and it also helps build your reputation. So this is very important. Try to find out the projects that are in flight and try to deliver them within first 3 months. So how can you do that, right? I'm new. I'm a new to product management. I'm new to the team. How do I understand what to do? Which projects are important? What should I deliver? And what does that mean, right? So I would say check with your engineers. Those are like the best guides. Check with them. Ask questions like which projects are blocked that are very important or impactful. Important in a way that it might be important for your organization strategically. We really need to deliver this, doesn't matter what the impact is, right? For example, it might be about migrating your users from one platform to another platform, right? That's kind of a strategic move, but that's a very important project for organization. Or you can try to think about some very big impactful projects, such as delivering feature X is going to grow your user base by 50%. So try to find out those type of projects which are blocked and which are kind of a mid-sized project. I would say don't go into too large at the beginning. Try to deliver those, but try to find those mid-sized projects and check with your engineers about that where you can help. Uh, Now, these projects might be blocked on different things. It might be cross team. It might be dependent on some other organization making some decision. Try to find that point where it's blocked and try to unblock the team, and then help them drive those product or features. And then after the project is delivered, this is a thing probably people forget, is celebrate that success. Call out people who help you. And this is, again, this goes into part of building your reputation. Call out for people who help you, call out for people who did go beyond 1 mile extra to get things done. And this is going to give them a confidence that as a new product manager, not only you can unblock them, not only you can deliver those projects, but you can also give them credit for doing that, right? So try to do this, and I would say the timeline for this is within first 3 months, you should be able to deliver at least two medium-sized projects. And all this is going to feel like it's a packed 3 months agenda, and that's okay. This is very, very important to feel that you get over the product management role. You understand that role completely. You understand your organization. You build rapport with your manager and your engineering team, and you are able to successfully start delivering the projects, right? So checkbox these three things that we called out, and now you know how to do it as well. That said, there are sometimes questions. Like, what about the tactical things? Should I create new processes? Should I create new meetings? Should I start new sprint planning? Things like that. I would suggest, as a new product manager who has not done product management before, you're coming new into this role, try not to make too many changes. Firstly, because you probably are not aware about the history of this team, what has happened, what they have tried, what they like, what they don't like. And secondly, you probably might not know what things might work with this team. You may have seen some processes work with the previous team in which you were working as a software engineer or as a marketing person, salesperson, but that's not necessarily going to work with this team. So within first 3 months, I would say avoid making any new processes unless it's utmost necessary. Spend that time to learn about people, learn about your users, try to deliver one or two projects and build your reputation. Once you have that, then you can use all your observations throughout this first 3 months and then propose your process and try to get alignment with the team members, whether this new process or anything that you're trying to propose makes sense and how it can help them to efficiently proceed further, right? So spend that time and just, yeah, avoid some big stuff, making big changes. And at the very end, I would just say a good luck. There it is. Good luck with your journey as a product manager. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to come back to my LinkedIn profile, send me a text or a message on a LinkedIn, and I'll be able to help you. Um, just celebrate your moment and go through all those three check boxes and be a good product manager. Thank you.